What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Of course, you know it's your boy B Hot Radio Shouty, and stepping in the building. I got an A-Town legend, icon, one of the greatest to do it in this thing. I'm talking about Brian from Jagged Edge in this thing. What's good with it, boss?
What's up, B? You good?
Man, feeling good, feeling great.
I'm telling you, right?
First of all, man, let me say appreciate you for coming through this thing, man.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Hey, Jagged Edge, man. What y'all boys did in this town and just throughout R&B. When you think about the legacy that y'all left behind and still trailblazing as you speak, how do you feel about that, B?
Man, you know, it's a beautiful thing. You know, when you got four guys who, like, one thing about us is we was always friends anyway. Yeah. We didn't get together just to make music. We was dudes who hung out together all the time anyway. So when you got four guys who share, you know, a dream in common and have a talent in common, and you put this thing in the pot from day one and it grows to be what is, you know, it's a blessing. You know what I mean? What else can I say but it's a blessing, bro?
When was it that the music bug hit you though, Brian?
I saw my brother talk about his moment in the car with my mama. And me not even singing yet, which we always sing together. So I don't remember this moment, but you know that was his moment. For me, I would say the first time we led a solo in church, because with us being twins, our first solo was actually a duet, right? So we was in a church called Holy Trinity Church in Hartford, Connecticut, and our pastor, Elder Powell, when he was in the world, he was in jazz bands and things like that with my mama. So when mama brought us to the church, he figured we could sing. He put us in the choir. He gave us a solo like our first week there. And the reaction we got from the church, I'm like, okay, it's something to this. You know what I'm saying? And it was the first time that I had sang in front of a group of people. We sang in the house all the time. But so after us singing our solo or our duet, the people enjoyed it. So I was like, you know, I like that feeling. You know what I'm saying?
So what was the point that y'all started writing? And then also just talk to me about having a brother to go on this journey with, man. What was that like, being able to look to your right and say, hey, man, we did this
Man,
thing.
It's a beautiful thing. I was watching the Charlos, you know, the fighters, the Charlo twins yesterday. And out of all the twins I've ever seen, they remind me of me and my brother the most because that bond is unbreakable, but they do have times where they butt heads. Me and my brother is them type of twins. Like, we used to fight a lot when we was kids, you know what I'm saying? But we the type that we could fight and 10 minutes later, we good.
We brothers.
People be like, how y'all? We like, that's just us. You know what I mean? We both strong-minded people. So we would fight, and 10 minutes later, we be good. People like, man, y'all crazy. How y'all? But so for me, when it came to writing, and just, you know, like you said, that bond, let's speak to that first. One thing about having a twin is whatever dumb idea you got somebody sitting right there like, fuck it, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? If I got a dumb idea, he gonna co-sign it. If he got one, I'm a co-signer, right? So it got us in our share of trouble. But when it came to writing, it was a beautiful thing because it's like you could bounce a concept, whether it's an idea, a melody, you know, just a verse or a hook idea. You could bounce it off with somebody who you understood had that same gift that you had. You know what I mean? Like, I always respected my brother's gift, and I think vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
So what was the first song that y'all wrote together? And did you know that y'all were jamming off the porch, or was it one of those things that y'all had to work at?
You know what? Because Kyle and them, the first time me and Brandon wrote something, Kyle and them, we sang it to them, and they liked it. Okay. So we felt like it is something there. The first song we wrote was a song called Nasty. Right? And I'm gonna tell you how we got into the type of topics that we developed into writing, you know, later, right? We sang this song, we was in our bedroom singing the song, and my mama walked by. And she was like, what y'all saying? Right. So, you know, when she came in, we started singing again, but of course we trying to muffle certain words. And she said to us, she was like, let me tell you something. She said, if you ever sing a song and you gotta muffle the words, or you don't want your mama to be in the room when you singing it, maybe it's something you shouldn't be singing. So from that point on, we started looking at it like, she right, you know what I mean? And we started going into more meaningful topics. But the first song we wrote was a song called Nasty. But the first song we performed in front of a crowd was a song called Don't You Want to Be Loved. So Don't You Want to Be Loved was a little more in line with what Jagged Edge did than Nasty was. You know what I'm saying? So
okay, so now y'all got the group together. From your perspective, Brian, what was it like when y'all linked up with JD, and how did that whole thing come about?
Well, it came about like Brandon Wingo told, Wingo went to school with Candy from Escape.
Yeah.
We did a demo, and really, we was just, because Candy was already in business, we just want to see what she thought about it.
Yeah.
We didn't necessarily think it was an opportunity going to come out of it. We didn't know that she was trying to branch out just yet. She was brand new in the game too, still basically at that time, right? So we gave her the demo. She listened to it. And when she heard it, she was trying to tell Wingo, like, I want to help y'all do something with it.
Yeah.
I'm not just trying to give y'all my opinion on it. I want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So after, we gave it to Candy, she took it to Jermaine. And really, one thing that gets left out in this story a lot is that it was a lot of Candy and Tiny, right? Because Tiny was Zebo's woman, right?
Yeah.
Zebo was like Jermaine's best friend.
Okay.
So in order to really make this happen from a business point of view, where Candy felt like Jermaine was going to take it seriously, she wanted to kind of go through Zebo.
Okay.
So without Tiny and Zebo, this wouldn't happen as much as Candy. You know what I mean? Though Candy was our manager and Zebo was, Tiny just as well as we used to record in Tiny's studio. So they both were equally, in my opinion, responsible for us getting that situation with Jermaine. So we walked in, we sang to Jermaine. He acted like he didn't like it. We left. We did think we thought we blew it. You know what I'm saying? We really did. And it was about to be a bad day. I remember it's like, as soon as Candy put her hand on that mall door to open it, the phone rang. And she like, y'all hold up. So we didn't even walk in the mall. She went over there. She was like, hold it, this is Jermaine. She went over, she talked to Jermaine. When she came back, she tried to play it, but she couldn't play it. She smiled ear to ear. She like, hey, he wants y'all. He like told y'all, he told me not to let y'all go nowhere else. He wants y'all. So from that point on, a few months later, he brought us to the house. We started working on records, and we were so deaf from that point on. You know what I'm saying?
What was it like having a young Candy as a manager, though? Because she was just getting into the game herself, but she already knew that it was time to boss up in this thing.
Absolutely. One thing about Candy I will say is that the same Candy you see now, that's the same Candy she always been. She always had her mind, and it's funny because even she'll tell you, all the big hits she wrote, like, we influenced each other, because when we got with her, she wasn't a writer. We started trying to tell her, like, when you're singing these melodies and you're doing this, I'm like, you're writing. Yeah. If you ad lib when a song comes on, if you learn how to put some good words to that, you're writing. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So we kind of opened up her mind to becoming a songwriter, and we would sit in her house, in her garage, and we would all put stuff together. You know what I'm saying? And she would run things by us, and it always sounded good. We like, I remember the first song she did. It ended up going on Escape's. What's the lipstick? The trace on my lipstick album. It ended up going on that album. That was like the first song she wrote, but it was dope. You know what I'm saying? So we was like, hey, you need to put that on the album. She put it on the album. So we always kind of influenced each other and bounced ideas off of each other. But I think from day one, you could see Candy was somebody who just wasn't going to be satisfied with just being in a group or just being managing somebody or just, you know what I mean? She always thinking forward, you know what I'm saying?
So now y'all in there with JD, man, and y'all are starting to get into this music industry. Yeah. What was that transition like, going from just singing around town to being in the big leagues in this thing, B?
It's crazy because, like a lot of groups did at that point in time, to get a deal back then, you had to do a demo, or you had to win some talent competition. We did all of the above. Yeah. We had gotten so popular on the talent show circuit that it was high schools inviting us to their talent show to be the special guest. Yeah. Like, it's like, we know y'all gonna win. We don't want y'all to compete. Y'all come and be the intermission act. And we would do that. And like I'm gonna tell you a story I was telling somebody the other day that tripped me out, man, when I was a kid. I remember meeting this girl. My homeboy had hooked me up with on the phone. You know how I used to go back.
That's right.
So we talking, and she asked me, what kind of music you like? I tell her R&B, boom. She's like, me too. I say, so what's your favorite group? She's like, I don't want to tell you because you ain't gonna know who they are. So we started talking. I said, well, what's the group? She said, it's 28K. Oh, it was us, right? So I'm like, you playing? Yeah. She's like, no, why you say? I said, I'm in 28K. The girl would not believe that I was in the group. That's how much she liked it. She like, no, I know you not. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's my group. You know what I'm saying? So we had gotten so popular as amateurs that the next thing to do, we felt like it got to be a deal out here for us somewhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we went from the talent show circuit, we did a demo, we started passing that, and as a matter of fact, in high school, when we was on the talent show circuit, we had gotten offered a deal by Michael Bivins anyway. It just kind of fell through over he had overcommitted on too many acts and everything. But one thing about him, he called us, he gave us the option, and us being, young and cocky, we like, we'll just go get another deal. We didn't know it was going to be like it was really going to happen like that, but we like, well, shit, we believe, let's go get another deal. So that's what we did. And, so going from the talent show circuit to doing demos to a guy like Michael Bivins wanting to sign us, to then we actually had deals on the table from Rowdy Records. We used to go sit with Rico Wade or talk to him about signing. Like, we was talking to everybody in this city about, giving us a shot at it. Yeah. Jermaine is just the one who came with it. What's the word I'm looking for? Expediently. Yeah. He came with it fast, and then he gave us the opportunity to write. Yeah. Though at one point we didn't think we was going to get the opportunity, but he gave us the opportunity to write our own records too. So for us, that was like the deal maker. Some people say it's a deal breaker. For us, that was a deal maker. It was other people talking about something, but he was like, and I will give y'all the chance to write. After, it was a little beef about it for a second, but then he did give us the opportunity to go ahead and write. So we got to go with Jermaine. You know what I'm saying?
Working with Jermaine and his genius and y'all genius together, man. What was that like? And then what did y'all learn from him being around him so early in the game as well?
Man, it's crazy because one thing we learned off the top was you can hang your hat on writing ballads, but to be well-rounded, you got to do more than write some slow songs. You know what I mean? So he taught us how to write faster songs and mid-tempo songs. He already understood that we had that ability to write ballads and really good, strong ballads. So he gave us that. But at the same time, I saw Jermaine give an interview not too long ago, and he said in the interview that they influenced me as much as I influenced them. And I remember that time, because it was people around the city who knew us and heard our music and knew our sound. I remember when You Make Me Wanna came out, Usher's song, right? People was hitting me and my brother like, did y'all write that song? Sound like y'all in the background and stuff. But if you go back before Make You Wanna, Jermaine didn't have songs of that style before that. So I do see the influence we did have. But at the same time, Jermaine got one of the most amazing pens ever. So he didn't need much of our help, no way. But I mean, I do see where we influence some of his ideas, harmony-wise and vocally, how we influence that. But the same thing with us. I mean, without his touch on us, no fast song wouldn't be nowhere to party at. Wouldn't be no, let's get married. And if you go back at that time, even he can't. Every song we always had a fast remix, and that was all because of JD. So he was like, you can't be so one-sided and one-minded, singular-minded. So that's what he did for us.
I gotta go to one of my favorite songs as well, man. Walk Right Out of Heaven. Talk to me about that banger right there, B.
Man, it's funny because we just talking about, we getting ready to try to put this movie together, and we're gonna go based off of that topic. I think the name in itself, Walked Out of Heaven, as a movie.
On,
you know what I'm saying? Right. So, but it was a song where it was something I was going through. You know what I'm saying? I was with a certain young lady, and and I ain't gonna name her name because y'all know who she is, and I don't want to blow her head up no more than it already is. But I was with a certain young lady, and I was horrible. I was horrible in a relationship. But you know how it is. You're young in this business, and there's so much coming at you, and so many women who I admired growing up in this game. They seem to like me and my brother. You know what I mean? So I took a little stab at certain situations, and it's funny because it's like she would always find out about it. I'm gonna tell you what's crazy about it, right?
Yeah.
She would say to me all the time, like she'd be like, Brian Casey, why you just won't do right? Damn. Right? And I used to be like, why are you saying that? I could never understood. Now, I'm talking, we could have just spent a whole day together. Yeah. We could have just took a trip together. By the end of that trip, she's going to say, why you just won't do right? Right? So this is the funny thing about it. This is when cell phones at first came out, right? Yeah. So us and a certain group of females went and all got our cell phones together. Yeah. So this was when there was no Nokias. Yeah. And everybody had a basic code until you changed your code, right? I had never changed my code. Yeah. So the whole time I had this cell phone, she was in my voicemail. And I'm not knowing this, right? Yeah. So, but it's funny because her and my mama had their little issues at times, but my mama said to me one day, she was like, that girl really loves you to have had the code to your cell phone with some of the things I know you was doing, and y'all was still together for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? But when it all came down to it, she she had saved certain mess the whole nine and played. So she let me know some of the things she had heard.
When she played it back to you, how did that go, B?
Bro, it was one of those situations where you can't
like
lie
you
about this.
out of heaven.
You can't, you know what I'm saying? Like I was kicked out of heaven, really. I was booted up out of heaven, but I deserved it. You know what I'm saying? I deserved it, and it's like, and it's funny because me and her had even had conversation after that about still getting back together. I changed my voicemail though.
Yeah, of course.
So it just let me know how much that person really cared for me. But at the time, like I said, you young, you dumb in this business. It's things coming at you financially, sexually, everything. And, me and my brother had always been two guys who you could say was in a popular crowd in our schools, but it's still, nothing really prepares you for when this thing really take off, nothing really prepares you for it, bro.
Break that down to me though, B, because I mean, if you already had the swagger coming into the game, but then it gets multiplied exponentially, man. I mean, growing up as a young player, you feel like you a player that can't get no better than that.
What I'm saying?
But then when it gets magnified, then it turns into something that. So what is that next level of playerism then, B?
That next level is. Like, so even in the He Can't video, He Can't Love You video, we got certain scenes in that video where, we came into the hotel room, it's a girl already. These things happen to us. We would go to hotel rooms under code names. Mine was, what was mine? I think I was Clark Kent. No, mine was Big Bangkok. Mine was Big Bangkok. Brandon was Clark Kent. Wingo was Sergeant Slaughter, and Cal was Rudy Ray Moore. So we would go into these hotels under these code names, and women would still find out where we was at. You know what I mean? And so we came into a hotel one time. It was a girl literally in the room waiting.
Ooh.
So that's why we put it in the He Can't Love You video, right?
Yeah.
So we had things like that. And it's like we would. I remember the first time we went to a mall. Mm-hmm. And we messed them all up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got escorted out the mall by the police because they were just saying it's just too much of a. So you should have never let us seen it. Now we going to East City knowing what we about to do to this mall and going into that mall on purpose just to cause a frenzy. You know what I'm saying?
My God.
We did that at times. You know what I mean? Or the first time we got chased. I remember we went to do an interview for a radio station in Denver. This was the first time we got chased out of the building. Like, we walked around the corner to go sit down at this table they had set up on the stage. As soon as the fans seen us, they started running. We never even got a chance to do the interview. We turned around and ran. I mean, it's funny because your adrenaline flowing, but really it's kind of scary at the same time. So you
trying to stay alive.
They catch me, you know what I'm saying? They catch me is gonna be a problem. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, so it's just all those different things. When I look back on the experience, man, it makes the experience. I don't want to say worthwhile because it's not just about that, right?
Yeah.
But when you have those memories that you can tie to all those different things, that's why we always sang about these things. We put those things in our videos. You know what I mean? We always touch them. Like I saw my brother saying, "Well, I got two daughters, and I got a daughter too." So I get, you don't want to go into certain detail, but these things was happening.
Answer me this though, B, as a father of a daughter, I got 3 myself.
Right.
How does that impact you knowing the young Brian out here in these streets and knowing what they about to get themselves into?
Real talk. I mean, one thing it does is you can give them all the signs. I mean, I wasn't I wasn't disrespectful to women. Right?
Exactly.
But I was a man,
a man's man.
And I did things I had no business damn doing when you got a woman, right? So don't get it twisted. I definitely did some of those things, but I think at the same time you can see the signs. I know what to tell her, what to look out for. Even if the dude is a genuine dude, you still got a genuine dude with options. Yeah, it's still a dude with options.
Come on now,
and that's what you got to look out for. I mean, try your best to pick them wise, but at the same time, let's be real. We all gonna go through some of these bumps and bruises, no matter how much you got your head on straight and all of that. We're gonna go through some of these things. And with my daughter, all I can hope is that she finds somebody genuine who may even have options, but he understands that she's his best option.
Exactly.
That's all I can hope for. You know what I'm saying?
What did that do to your ego, seeing them women going crazy? And how were y'all able to maintain a regular sense of reality in this thing when your whole reality done switched around on you? When you thought you knew what was going on, but you wasn't ready for that.
I'm telling you, I mean, and that's what it is. It's like you have to remind yourself, I'm just twin. You know what I mean? I'm like, because, I remember the first time even at a concert, I saw a girl cry, right? And it affected me You know what I mean? It made me emotional a little bit too. It's like, damn, she really feeling this.
Exactly.
And the only time I had seen stuff like that was watching clips of Michael Jackson concerts, people crying and fainting. You know what I mean? I had never seen nothing like this. So, but I do remember how it affected me. And it's like, sometimes you gotta pinch yourself. Like gotta be safe. Don't want to make a scene. I pinch myself. I mean, like sometimes you really do gotta be like, man, this really happened. Like I dreamt about it. I wanted it to happen. I hoped it would happen. I thought it might happen, but this thing really happened. You know what I'm saying?
What was that tipping point for you though, B, when you realized that y'all had made it and it wasn't no turning back to regular life?
Man, it's one thing I identify with what my brother said is it is scary. You know what I mean? Once you start taking care of your whole family, you know, once you start paying bills that you ain't had nothing to do with making and all those types of things, you don't. I mean, it's a responsibility, but it's one that you want.
Yeah.
You want to be able to take care of your mama. You want to be able to make sure that your kids got the things that they want and need. You know what I mean? Yeah. You want to be able to make sure even some of your partners can experience life that, you know, without you, they wouldn't experience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So one thing it does make you a bit, it takes you back a little bit just because you know that just like it came, it can be gone. You know what I mean? And when you make some of the decisions that we did make, it's a blessing that it wasn't just stripped right away at different points in our career, you know what I'm saying?
When Gotta Be hit, man, and that was one of the first songs that y'all wrote to go all the way up through there. How did you feel knowing that y'all had the skills to pay the bills at that time?
Man, we always kind of felt like we did. But when you see that happening and you see, so the way things would work back then especially is your song, as it became a big song, it would take over city by city, right? So we would go to Houston, it's number one in Houston this day. We go to DC, it's number one in DC, right? You go to Chicago, it's number one in Chicago. So you would see it really trickle itself throughout the nation, you know what I'm saying? So each time, like, you get your first couple of cities or states even, and you're like, wow. But as it keeps happening, you're like, it's something to this, you know what I mean? Like, maybe people really and with us, we didn't have no money on our record. Like our reps told us, like, because, you know, our first video was a song called The Way You Talk. And we love Jermaine, but Jermaine believed in us so strongly that he went all the way out. Like it was like a $400,000 video for an act on their first video. That's, you know what I mean?
A lot of money.
It ate up a budget too.
Yeah.
Because like if the song would have popped, it would have brought that money back, but it didn't pop. So now I remember our one of the heads of the label, Bart Phillips. I love Bart to this day, good dude. But he brought us in the office and he said, hey, man. He said, if Gotta Be don't work, ain't no more Jagged Edge. I mean, but I respect, when you in this game and people sugarcoat and dance around shit, we always respected that he kept it that real with us. You know what I'm saying? He was like, if this don't work, ain't no more Jagged Edge. So we would go city to city and we would be with our reps and we would see, you know, like Destiny Child, their record started to take off. And we just ask our reps, well, why is their record taking off? And we know people like our record. He's like, we had this certain rep. His name was John Green. I'm not even sure if John is still alive. I'm just because it's been that long. I haven't seen. You know, he was an older. I'm not even sure if he's still here with us. But he gave us a valuable piece of information. He said the reason y'all record ain't popping and they record's popping, it's no money on your record. And it's not just talking about payola, just saying, like, you know, to go into these cities, it takes money. It takes money to move 4 girls around or 4 guys. Take money to put you up in a hotel. Take money to even, you know, get certain venues to give you a chance to do a showcase. Whatever it is, it takes money. So he's like, ain't no money on y'all record. So what happened with us is they put up, we shot this video for Gotta Be. And I remember us fighting for the outfits and everything because we said, we felt like this. The Way You Talk was not a great representation of us. You had us all suited up, and that wasn't us, right? So we Gotta Be was like, look, if we're gonna go out, we're gonna go out on our shield. We're gonna go out the way we want to do it. So we fought them tooth and nail about even the fur coat, like, and it's crazy because to this day people still be, hey man, what a white fur coat at Jagged Edge? Like, so the things we fought for, it worked to help us seal our own identity into people's minds. So then you would see this video that started out on, you know, what was the name of the show at that point in time? The Quiet Storm BET show, Slow Jam. It was started on the Slow Jam show every night. And for you know it, now you're hearing the slow jams on V, now you're hearing the slow jams on other stations, and you know what I'm saying? So it trickled its way, you know what I'm saying? It trickled its way down because people was actually they was calling in for this record. There was no money for this record to succeed. People started saying, "Hey man, I need to hear that Jagged Edge record," and so without the fans, we literally would not be here. You know what I'm saying?
How do you feel when you look back on some of the music that y'all made though? Because some of that stuff is just flat out iconic and timeless.
Right.
Okay, Let's Get Married is probably billion times it's been played at a wedding. I mean, you can't even go to a wedding without that song getting played. What the hell? You talking about the president's daughter jamming the Let's Get Married at her wedding?
Crazy, bro. Like, when you see something like that, you realize, you know, you are in the culture. You know what I mean? And not only are you in the culture, but people taking notice of it. You know what I'm saying? I remember seeing it at the president's daughter's wedding. I remember seeing it at certain, you know, you got basketball game when you hear the songs in the background when it's on TV. Like, it was everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And when you come up with something like that, because I remember it really started from Gotta Be. When we did Gotta Be, it was so many people sending our label videos and things of them getting married to our song. So you know how you used to get the fan mail back then. So you get all this fan mail, you see certain videos, you see people just talking about, you know, he proposed me to this song. And so once we saw the effect of that, JD said to us, he was like, look, man, people really out here getting married off this song. Why don't y'all really give them a song for people, you know, to get married to? Ooh. He's like, what you mean? He's like, just make a song and let's get married. So we took that concept, we wrote the record. And, you know, it's just one of the things, as soon as it was done, we was like I remember Wingo wanted to drop it first. But we was like, man, I also knew that He Can't Love You was so sonically different.
That was hard
too. We got to drop this first. I said, one thing when He Can't Love You, it's one of them songs, as soon as you hear it, and you understand this is Jagged Edge, as soon as it come on, you're going to be like, you know how, because some songs come on and you ain't sure what song it is till somebody starts saying something. I like this song, as soon as you hear that dun, dun, ooh, as soon as you hear that part, you gonna know what it is. So we got to drop this first, and it was the perfect thing because it set Let's Get Married up better than we probably could have done it without dropping that first. You know what I'm saying? Having
them bullets in the chamber. Yeah. What was that like, knowing that you was about to go out here and take the game over?
Man, it was crazy, but excuse me.
Take your time.
I remember that's exactly what it felt like. Even our label was telling us off the top, like, this album is a classic.
Yeah.
You know, it was people telling us that who had just reviewed the album, who, you know, on the project before act like they didn't want to even deal with us. Now this project coming, they like, these, you know. I remember even going to Soul Train and Don Cornelius came out. He was like, man, this is my favorite album in a long time.
My God.
If you see the Soul Train Awards that year, we ended up winning Album of the Year, right?
Yeah.
So, but I remember him coming to our label. He was like, man, this is my favorite group right now. We actually heard Don Cornelius say this. You know what I'm saying? So at that point in time, it was like, you know, even I remember us going on 106 in Park and Luther Vandross coming on there.
What?
He just wanted to meet us. He just wanted to be a part of what we did. He came out there just to big us up. It's clips going around the internet right now. You'll see Luther Vandross, and he's like, the reason I love Jagged Edge is because they sing songs the way they're supposed to be sang.
Come on,
you know
now.
What I'm saying? So when you see yourself putting this project together, and you feel like it's something too.
Yeah.
But then when you get that validation from people who I always looked up to Don Cornelius. I always looked up my mom and them Luther to death in my house. You know what I'm saying? So when you see certain things happening, it's like we done did something. You know what I'm saying?
What does it do to the money when you got back-to-back classics coming out, going all the way to the top with it? How did that impact y'all financially?
Man, it's a beautiful thing. You know, we still out here making records and still making money off new records, but we still make a lot of money off of what we did.
Come on.
You know what I mean? It's a blessing. Me and my sister, we was just talking about R. Kelly, and people was like, he broke. No, but if you understand what R. Kelly's publishing looks like, he can really never be broke.
Come on.
He might be broke for a second till that next check comes.
Exactly.
But when that next check comes, it's going to more than replenish. Right?
Exactly.
So with us, it's been a blessing because it's times when, you know, we 10 albums in 20-something years, so we basically average an album every 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Right? Just throughout our career, that's what we average. And when you have certain things hit the way those first 2, 3, 4 did, them statements still nice just from that work. You know what I mean? So it's something you got to appreciate, you got to be thankful for, and, you know, understand it's a blessing. It ain't us, bro. It's the Most High at all times. You know what I'm saying?
Did you feel like the money changed y'all in any way? And how did that impact you just mentally, knowing that, hey, man, it's going to be a long time before I'm broke again?
You know what? I don't think it changed us in that way. I think it changed us in a sense of, we did, but we went through a reckless period of time. And I saw my brother touching on this before too, about us hanging out with JD and that kind of curve in the way we thought when we first got in the game. But I say this too. When we used to hang out with JD, we would get into little things even with JD. Oh. But JD was always, he used to be like, man, these niggas like some rock and roll niggas. These niggas crazy. You know what I'm saying? He would think it was funny. You know what I mean? He never was like, hey, y'all when y'all get into the game for real, they gonna have a problem. He never told us that. He would laugh it off and be like, man, these niggas gonna get us some headlines or something like, you know what I'm saying? So I think in a sense, when you talk about 4 guys we was so down for each other, period. You know what I mean? I can't watch something happen to my brother and not lose my mind. And that's for all 3 of them. Yeah. And that's how we've always backed each other up. I don't care what it was. You know what I mean? When we was right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? So in the sense of money coming and giving you a little more room to be a little more reckless at times, yes, it did. But it didn't make us like, oh, I'm better than nobody. We that's not our personalities really. We all grounded in that sense. But yeah, money gave us, some options to some wilder nights, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we did with it.
The shows and the touring, what was that like, and just the actual work ethic that it took to be Jagged Edge?
You know what? One thing about us is we came in the game with a pretty good work ethic, because for us to develop our sound, which we were, it's funny when I've heard people say, well, all R. Kelly songs sound like, or all Mariah Carey. Okay, that's what you're working for, is a signature sound. People don't understand. That's what you're trying to develop. Yeah. So as soon as somebody press play, they're like, oh, that's Jagged Edge.
That's right.
Oh, that's R. Kelly. Oh, that's Michael. Whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. So for us, we came in the game with a work ethic. We was sitting in the garage, or even in my mama bedroom when she would be out of town, because she had a big. We were sitting there. We were rehearsed. Yeah. Hours and hours and hours and hours, day after day after day after day, sitting in that garage in the summer, sweating bullets, or even when we was in high school, we would go down to Grant Park. When we were signed to our manager, Mia Red, at the time, we'd go down to Grant Park. We would rehearse 4 or 5 hours a day, like we was on a basketball team. Damn. And she would have it. One thing I say, so much love for her, because she wouldn't have it no other way. And she'll tell you, like, you know how it is when you play on a team. One day you come in, you don't feel like practicing. Yeah. With her, you came in there, you ain't feel like practicing. She be like, hey, you sound like shit today. Like shit. I mean, but we loved it because she holds your feet to the fire. And,
That's
and
right.
when you're a young guy with aspirations and you got somebody in front of you who knows what it takes, that's what you need. Like, be honest with me. Don't just sugarcoat me so I'm out here fucking off when you know what I mean? Like, give me that real. And she used to give us that real, like, hey, y'all don't want to be here today, y'all can go home.
My God.
Like, she used to be like like an NCAA coach or something. Like, she ain't play no games, like, for real.
Answer me this though, Brian. With y'all being great and being around greatness, what do you think separates the good from the great?
That's a good question. I think first off, because I hear athletes and people give these type of interviews and they tell you about their process and how they thought they did this. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Some of it's work ethic and all that, but it's all the Most High, man. I got a talent. You got a talent. Yeah. The Most High decided that mine got a little further than that one. And that's not to knock the other, but I'm just saying it's not as much in our hands as we want to give ourselves credit for. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got that talent. Yeah, you develop it. But how many other people do that? How many other people got that talent? It's all the Most High. It's according to His plan. And I truly believe that. So for me, we worked our asses off, yes. We sat down and we tried our best to write interesting songs, yes, and meaningful songs, yes. But how many other people do that, bro?
Come on.
You know what I mean? You can't take as much credit as your ego would like to allow you to try to grab. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Being on the road with Destiny Child, man, what was that like? Because that was greatness in the female version of Jagged Edge at the same time. Absolutely. So what was that like being there? You got Beyonce, the top, all them girls going crazy.
Absolutely. It was one of the things where it's funny because when I used to talk to Toy and them about this, they would always say to us like y'all, they'd be like, y'all the best. Like they would give us confidence too. Like y'all gonna be so big, right? Mm-hmm. And I would look at them and think the same thing. Like y'all don't know how big y'all gonna be. You know what I mean? So as everybody's bubble started to pop at around the same time, it was just confirmation that number one, you knew you was looking at real talent, and number two, you knew you was looking at real dedication. You know what I mean? Yeah. And one thing about them is that in the beginning, our work ethic wasn't what it was when we was younger because of spending that time around Jermaine. Yeah. Like my brother said, feeling almost entitled at times. Yeah. But when we saw what the work ethic did for them, they helped us to amp it back up.
Yeah,
like, hey man, we know, like, we good, but we gotta. A lot of people good, but what they say, what's the saying? When what is it? Preparation meets
opportunity.
Opportunity.
Yeah,
that's where you get greatness from. So for us, it was like, we got the opportunity, we got to put that preparation back in. You know what I'm saying? So they definitely inspired us to just get our work back up. You know what I'm saying?
Did you think that Beyonce was gonna go on to be Diana Ross?
I did. I remember saying at one point, that's the next Michael Jackson right there. Like, people looking for the next Michael Jackson to be some dude. I'm like, that's the next Michael Jackson right there.
My God.
I mean, she always been that driven. And then with the God-given talent, and then the work you put behind the God-given talent, it's like this. And then the beauty, the beauty, the sense of style, all those things. Like, I knew she was going to be huge. And I knew Destiny Child was going to be huge.
Why did y'all get kicked off the bus?
We got kicked off the bus for standing up for a girl when she was being mistreated with her mama. Like, it's simple as that. We really had nothing to do with the issue, but we didn't give a damn. Like, you're not gonna do this in front. I used to tell people when I used to tell the story, like, my mom would have kicked my ass knowing I just let that happen to these girls in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 2-3 in the morning one night after a show. You know what I mean? We couldn't let it go unchecked. Now, what we should have done, we should have made sure our names was on the contract for them buses. But because we didn't do that, we was able to get kicked off right along with them. But it was simple as that. We just felt like, you're not gonna mistreat this girl and her mama because she's sick. It was simple as that. And not only that, you was calling a shot and you're not even in this city. So if she was really disrupting anything, we the ones who got to deal with the disruption. So let us deal with it then. And if we don't view it as a disruption, leave that shit the fuck alone. You know what I mean? That's how we looked at it. You know what I'm saying?
Behind the scenes music industry stuff, man, what is that like when you got the glitz and the glamour, the women they crying and all that stuff, but they don't know you behind the scenes crying too. Right. So what is that like?
I mean, it's real life. I mean, you go through, and that's one thing about fame or celebrity or just being a popular person, whatever it is, some of these social, media influencers, some of them going through the same things where people view you a certain way, and sometimes it has nothing to do with how you view yourself. I was just watching Deion Sanders on the I Am Athlete podcast, and he was saying at the top of his game, this man, winning Super Bowls, MVPs and leaving a football game to go play in the World Series.
Come on.
He on the top of his game, and he was about to kill himself.
Damn.
And when he talked about that, I've never been that low. All praise to the Most High. Knock on wood, whatever you want to say. Thank the Lord. But I do understand, with all these eyes on you thinking it's one thing and you yourself feeling something totally different in the inside. Sometimes those two lives don't coincide. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's because of the way you living, right? You understand some of the shit you doing, that ain't how you was raised. Some of the shit you doing, this ain't right. Some of the shit you doing, it ain't cool to treat that woman. All those different things, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes it will eat at you, you know what I'm saying? So I think, people just gotta understand, if you get a chance to get this thing that you think is gonna be your blessing, which it can be a blessing and a curse, right? But when you get a chance to get this, you gotta stay grounded, because this thing will take you off and it'll take your mind off somewhere where some people don't never come back from. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta stay grounded with it, man.
Where the party at with Nelly? When y'all linked up with Nelly and came up with another classic that's still getting the party started to this day, how did that song come about, and what was it like when that thing hit?
It's funny, I was just with B. Cox on Saturday. And he was the original producer of the original Where the Party At record. So Brandon was saying it was a sample, a West Coast sample. It wasn't, West Coast guys did love the record, but the record was literally the Dog Pound, and I'm not sure what they sampled it from, but if you remember the Dog Pound's record, they had a little controversy when they shot that video in New York and they got shot at the New York record, right? So we had sampled the New York record, wrote Where the Party At on it, and got Daz Corrupt to come in and be the feature, because it was their record first anyway. The record was dope as hell anyway. But I ain't gonna lie, one thing Jermaine did, like he always does, is he know how to make something even bigger. He know how to make something a little more universal. So instead of us putting out that record on that beat with those same guys who caused that controversy in the first place, it was probably smarter that we didn't do that. Because you got to realize, it's still, we 4 or 5 years removed from the East Coast West Coast beef at that time.
Yeah.
So it's something that might not have been taken the right way anyway.
Yeah.
So it was really good that he changed that beat up, because people could have looked at it like, oh, here we go on some East Coast West Coast shit.
Yeah.
The same record that they used to throw shots in New York, at least the way people viewed it, because if you really listen to the record, they really wasn't never throwing shots. They was bigging up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But people took it that way. So people could have looked at it like the same way they was doing it, that we taking shots too.
Yeah.
And we had our little issues with Suge Knight over the years and everything too. So, it was just lots of things. Jermaine just took the record and he said, in a sense, let's take it out of anything that's going to be funny. Let's put a crazy beat on it, a more universal beat, because even that Latino vibe at that time, reggaeton records, all those things was starting to bud right then.
Yeah.
And he was a little bit of in front of the wave, if you will.
Yeah.
And when he did it and we heard the beat, we was like, oh yeah, that's it. We got to do it on that.
What was going through your mind when y'all would have those little tiffs with Suge Knight here and there when he had a few things to say?
Man, it's crazy because we was big fans of everything, West Coast and East Coast. I mean, we was big fans of Biggie, we was big fans of Pop. We was, it's unfortunate the whole West Coast, East Coast thing making this whole country choose a side, because both sides and both camps was banging. Yeah. Both camps was incredible, right? So with us, we love some. I was always a little more Pac than Biggie, but my brother's a little more Biggie than Pac, right? As far as what, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So even in our own dynamic, we loved both sides of it. So when Suge got out of jail, all I remember is the first time we saw him, we was at this club, and he came and he introduced himself.
Yeah.
He was like, y'all Jagged Edge, huh? He was like, man, that's all I was listening to when I was locked up, was Jagged Edge, man. And we like, wow, that's what we thinking, right? Wow, right? So the night goes on, he like, man, if y'all need anything, y'all let me know. Later on, he tries to send us a bottle, right? And we didn't accept the bottle. We making money. We had our own bottle. It wasn't no disrespect, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't understand that he might have taken it that way, right? So that was the beginning of the little thing. So then, we had come back to LA. We had a little issue with them that night, and I don't want to, but so we had come back to LA a few months later, and he came to one of our parties.
Yeah.
And when he came to our parties, he came in and he was like, man, first he was trying to kind of bully our security guy, but our security dude wasn't having it. Yeah. So before that conversation was over, he ended up asking, offering our security guy a job. He's like, the way you gotta come work for me. Right?
I need you on my team,
right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You ain't scared of me. So, but before the end of that night was over, though, we kind of pieced up a little bit. But then Where the Party At had come out.
Yeah.
So we saw him once it came out. We was at the Source Awards. And this, if you remember that year, things went crazy. I can't remember, was it the Dre and them and 50 of them beef? I can't remember what it, but it didn't happen. Shit had went crazy in the audience, and it got we were supposed to perform that night. Yeah. We was there. The whole Social Death was there to perform Where the Party At. Yeah. We had on, if you ever seen the video, we had on those New York Knicks color outfits in the video, everybody with the white, blue. So when we went to do the Source, everybody got the Celtic stuff on. Yeah. Right? We walking down the hallway ready to go do our set, and Suge is like, Jagged Edge. He like, East Side, huh? Interesting. East Side, huh? So we like, hold up. We like, first off, Suge, we talking about the East Side of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where we from.
Exactly.
Ain't nobody talking about no East Coast, West Coast shit, right? But we had just started to notice it's just this contentious thing with us. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? With a year or so later, everything kind of got pieced up and cooled off. But for a while, he was trying to be on our heads a little bit. We like, bruh, we don't even know you like that. Like, what's your issue with us? You know what I'm saying? But I mean, like I said, things got pieced out. Some of the people who we employed was longtime friends of him. Yeah. And in those days, especially when you moved around LA, you needed to move around with a certain faction of, you know what I'm saying? Folks. And we had those with us. Yeah. And once they understood that we had a beef with Suge, I remember one night we got into it with Suge, and they were like, Suge, nah, this family, nah. And from that point on, it was never no issue with Suge. You know
exactly.
What I'm saying? Yeah.
Talk about just those industry politics that people might not be aware of before they get into the industry, because they're thinking that it's all about the music and everything else, and then you realize behind closed doors it's going down.
It's the same street shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, just being real. One thing about us as black folks, right?
Yeah.
Like they say, real recognize real. I don't give a damn what game you in. Real recognize real.
Yeah.
And in certain situations, especially when you were dealing with the LA,
culture,
the gang culture, especially, and how it's basically infused in different camps in the industry anyway.
Yeah.
You just had to move a certain way. And it's one of the things where you couldn't go there and call yourself just ignoring that. Like, you could try to, but they're going to let you know, no, we see you, and you're not ignoring this. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's something, in a sense, you end up almost respecting that. They was on some shit like, we're not saying you can't move around here, but you got to move around here a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And you got to come out here and respect the politics that's in place.
Yeah.
And to this day, you still kind of got to do that when you want to move a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So, all praise to the Most High that nothing happened, but we did have some of the right people on our team. And, they let Suge know off the top, this family. It's not gonna go down like that.
Exactly.
And from that point on, it was respect and it was love. But like you said, I mean, those politics, and not just LA. It's a lot of cities that when you go to that city, if you're gonna do certain things, you got to move a certain way, and don't lie to yourself about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that can end up tragic, and we've seen it happen many a times. You know what I'm saying?
What were the things that you saw in the music industry that were the total opposite of what you thought they would be before you got into it?
That was one thing. I did, because you got to understand that, our era or the gangster rap era of music is kind of what put some of those things in play. Michael Jackson ain't had to worry about that. Teddy Pendergrass and Luther them ain't had to worry about that. Marvin Gaye them ain't had to worry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
New Edition them ain't had to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? It came with our era of music. With when the gangster rap era was ushered in, that's when you had to. You see some of these politics changes. So that was one of the biggest things for me, to realize that, the same things you want to stray away from even in your own town in the street, you want to stray away from some of that same shit in the music industry.
Exactly.
And if you don't, you get mixed up in it, it could end up bad. You know what I'm saying?
What was it that you loved the most about the game? Be during your time when y'all was singing and all the way up until now, what brought you the most joy?
The most joy to this day is still, I don't know, you know what I mean? Because I'm one of them dudes, I do love to perform, but performing can be a little taxing, you know what I mean? Like, especially, you get a little older and you gotta, singing night after night, do something a little more to your throat and everything. Now, I'm blessed to have a strong voice. All of us, we got strong voices, but I think the fatigue of performance sometimes is a lot. But one thing I never get tired of is walking into that studio and creating. I just love to see something go from nothing to something, from an idea to something, from a title to something, from I like the way this beat moved to something. I like the way this chord progression moved into something. You know what I'm saying? So that part I never get tired of. I mean, I'm going to the studio when I leave here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
who were the artists that you came across that you worked with that you were like, this guy's a damn genius for real?
Wow. JD. I always knew JD, even Diddy. I'll say this. We just did a new song with Diddy and Ty Dolla and Kehlani. It'll be out soon.
Ooh.
But the other times we worked with Diddy, because we got more songs with Diddy probably, I think even the 112 you know what I'm saying? But the other times we worked with Diddy, it was on other people's beat. And so when we went in the studio with Diddy this last time, the song we on is not on a beat he did, but we was in the studio while he was doing this song for Keith Sweat and Tiana Taylor.
Yeah.
So to watch him be part of the beat, be part of the music, come up with the idea, come up with the melody, do this with that, play this chord in these sound. To watch him really do his producing thing, as in a sense of when Bad Boy started, the way he would do that then, it was pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? But the reason I say JD is the same thing. I didn't know JD actually could play a little piano. I didn't know JD was literally making every beat. I didn't know these things. I didn't know he could write like he could. I didn't know that every time you see something with a JD name on it, he is except for our stuff, he's about 95 to 98% of that magic that made it happen. You know what I'm saying? So JD, Diddy, I think somebody who else also impressed me. We used to work with Tank on his before his first album came out. We were working on the songs he was putting together for that project. To see him work too, just an amazing talent. But it's not, to have an ear for R&B. Some people don't understand. It's a special thing. A lot of people can sing, a lot of people can play, but you got to have an ear to put all of that together with the right melody and the right beat and the right concept for each song, and then for the right period of time. One thing about Tank, I always admire that he's got all of that. You know what I'm saying? The right voice, the right writing capabilities, the right beat making capabilities, the right sense of what women want to hear right at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? So I say those 3 or 4. Those about the most.
when it comes to writing, how many songs have y'all had to give away? And you was thinking to yourself, damn, we should have kept that shit for our damn self.
Man, you ain't lying. it's a few of them. I remember one song called "I Don't Wanna." It was on I think it's on the Hard album, our 4th album. But it was really created for the 2nd album. But when we did it, we was working with Noontime, right? So when you think about Noontime, you get Jazzy Faye out of Noontime. You get Brian Michael Cox. Ashanti was down in Noontime. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like you talking about a lot of talent sitting in that building. Yeah. So they also had this group called Absolute, who, if you ask me, was a bit underrated. I ain't saying they was the dopest nigga, but they was a good group. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was a good group, and it was overlooked. But what he would do is, so their first song was a song called "Never Wanna Let You Go." We wrote that with Duran from 112. Crazy, dope song, right? Then his next song was a song called "I Don't Wanna," which ended up being on our album. So what happened with this song is it was for the J.E. Heartbreak album. When Jermaine heard the song, he was like, "Oh, that's it right there." So next 5 minutes, we like, he like, "What you mean?" We like, "We ain't got the song no more." He like, "What you mean you ain't got the song?" We like, "We sold it." He like, "Y'all sold that shit?" He like, "Man, y'all stupid, man. Y'all stupid." I never get it. So we went back to Ryan Glover, who was the head of Noontime. We tried to get the song back. We like, look, now, I didn't want to be funny about it because we was partners. You know, we was doing lots of things with Noontime, right? And Ryan was always like my big brother, always looked out for me and my brother, right? So I didn't want to be funny, but I was like, man, we could just take the song. It ain't like, you know, ain't no paperwork. We could just take the song. He was like, "I know you could be, but don't do it like that." So we started, you know what I'm saying? We started talking. And after we settled on a number, which was an incredible number for one song, and I would say to Ryan Glover, thank you for that. To this day, for any one song, it's probably as much or more than most of the time you receive for one song. Right? So he gave us a very healthy number, and after that, we let them keep the song. So they put the song out. I remember even View on 3 playing the song and everything, right? But once the whole Absolute thing didn't work, we came down to our 4th album. We took the song back and put it out anyway. So it still worked out. We got the check for the song, and we still was able to use it. You know what I'm saying? But that was one thing. Nice and Slow to this day, Wingo be like, "Man, why y'all ain't get that song for us, man?" He used to be hot with Jermaine and us for that song. He like, "Man, that's supposed to be our song, man." Like, every time we hear that song, he be like, "Man, y'all crazy. That's supposed to be our song, man. Y'all crazy." Well,
what was it like when y'all left So Def and then went over to the Def Jam with it?
Man, it was the way the process really worked was we left So Def, and you gotta understand, that was hard for us to do in the first place because that was, you know, that was our big brother in this game. You know what I'm saying? To this day, JD still that's our family. Like, that's right. You never see Jagged Edge have no funny things to say about JD. We don't always agree, and he know me and JD, we butt heads at time, but it's only love between us. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard for us to do that, but at the same time, Columbia Records was always the parent label, and they didn't really want to let us go. So they offered us a nice number, and it wasn't just about the money, it was about the contractual obligation anyway. We didn't have the right to just go. But they knew that if JD really wanted to, you know, work around it and throw up some money, he probably could have got us up out of there, right? Or even offered him something. So they tried their best to offer something better. And then we had the contractual obligation side. So he left and he went to Def Jam first. We did an album, one more album with Columbia, which was Hard Album. The Hard Album that's what Walked Out of Heaven is on that album, right? So that we still had a successful project even without Jermaine. So Jermaine is looking at that. I'm in the club one night and Jermaine walks in, and you would have thought like we was never off because he was happy for us. One thing I say about Jermaine, ain't no hater in Jermaine.
Come on now.
Right? He was happy that we was still banging, and he was happy we was able to accomplish something even without him. Right? So it wasn't no funny. He walked in the club. You know, it's like me and him just sitting there together. It's like we still on. I felt like we still on So Def. And he says to Maurice, who was like a long time big part of So Def and the street team and all that, right? And he says to Maurice, he was like, "Man, if I can get a group like Jagged back, it'll be crazy what I could do at Def Jam." So he said it, and I heard it. He know I heard it. I'm like, "Well, shit, Shawty, what you want to do?" You know what I'm saying? So it goes from this conversation to I go home, I tell Brandon what he said. Me and Brandon started talking about like it would be dope, but at the same time we have to have that respect for Columbia for still seeing the value in us to make us something even without him. So we still feeling a little torn, but we like that's our home. You know what I'm saying? So he came back. He offered us a beautiful situation at Def Jam. And one thing I remember him saying to us that really kind of took. He said all the work that we done had to do over the years at Columbia. He said if you do 1/10 of that work at Def Jam, this shit gonna be the biggest shit y'all ever did. Now it didn't work out that way. And I blame, listen, you know, I don't bite my tongue like some of my group mates, so I blame L.A. Reid. But either way it go, right? Yeah. Because he didn't respect what we had done. Right? Jermaine had full respect for what we had done. Yeah. L.A. didn't respect what we had already done. Like, so, and then the crazy thing about that, we put a little umph at Def Jam.
That was a hit too, though.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The song was already moving.
Yeah.
He just refused to just keep going with it, right? Song was already doing this thing. They was already you was already seeing evidence that this could work over here.
Yeah.
But they own little internal situations. We kind of fell into all of that, right? But I mean, so yeah, I mean, leaving So Def was a hard thing to do, but going back was beautiful. I mean, we never are fully not. We still in our hearts we still So Def. Now we got to go and do other business ventures just because we grown men. We got to eat. We got to feed our own families, right?
Exactly.
But we always still So Def. We talking with JD right now about putting together another situation. So we're never not having that conversation with Jermaine. You know what I mean?
What is it like being on that roller coaster with hit after hit after hit, show after show after show, and then stepping off of the roller coaster and regrouping? Cool Joe Goody put it best when he said, you know what, after all of those hits and stuff, it's like a soldier coming home from war and returning back to civilization.
I like that.
What was that like for y'all?
It's that's damn good, Cool Joe. I mean, and I feel him too, because it's almost like that PTSD. It's almost like, you know what I mean? You do feel like that for a second because it's like, this is what you used to.
Yeah.
And coming back, and one thing about us, I'll say this. Because we average an album every 2.5 years throughout our career, we never really home that long. But even so, some of the years where you home 2.5 years and you still working on music, you do feel out of place almost in your own home, around your own people, because it's not. We grew up in this business. Yeah. I mean, literally. You know what I mean? Us getting our first deal in high school, and then us putting out our first record by the time we 19. Like we grew up in this business. Yeah. This all we know as adults. Yeah. So I can agree with that whole. You know, just to sum it up that way is perfect to me, because it's like a soldier going whatever. I don't care. You at war for 2-3 years. They feel like you so consumed with it. And just to stay alive, you gotta be that it's like all you know. So it's the same with this business. Because you want this to work, because you want the success, because you want to reap the benefits of your work, your mind be consumed with each project. So when it's done and you gotta sit down for a second, it feel like a breather, but not always a welcome breather. Sometimes you just want to go back to doing what you know. You know what I'm saying?
When you achieved the success and you got to where you was trying to go to and you had it, how did you stay motivated though, Brian?
You know what? Like that's the key, right? Yeah. But I think for me, because I hear my brother saying, that he feels like he's the leader when it came to when it came to having a conversation with the label and stuff. And to a certain extent, that's true. But if that's true, then I'm the leader when it came to galvanizing our troops, when it came to getting back to work. Yeah. I'm the one who always in the studio, who always saying, hey, let's finish this project. Let's finish this record. I'm sending you records so you can get your verse on it. You know what I'm saying? So, and my brother, we both equally are responsible for the music, but I'm the one who, I'm always like, hey, let's go. Let's get this next shit done. Let's get this next video done. Let's get, even right now, we done had our little issues about the next video we gonna shoot, because I'm like, let's go. He like, man, well, hold on, let me get this right. So I mean, and one thing I say, my brother is a perfectionist in that way, and I am too. But with my perfection, I'm more at he's perfection by the method of take your time. I'm perfection by hit and misses. If this don't work, we go to the next one. That's my thing all the time. If this don't, it goes to the next. Especially now we making our own music and putting out our own music. If it don't, we got 31 songs. Hey, if it ain't, let's go to the next one. If that, go to the next one. If that go, so that's always kind of my method. And when it comes to even with studio, one of the reasons we put out 31 records was because every time we've ever, I remember our label saying to us, they said, you know, the problem with Jagged Edge is Jagged Edge don't make a bad record. So that makes it hard to
pick a hit.
It makes it hard to pull out. Now, when you got other people who got, you know, 10 records and 8 of them bad, we know these 2 is the shit, right? So they were like, that's always been y'all problem. So the way I look at it, the reason we gave people 31 songs, we said, you know what? Instead of trying to chop this down to 10, 11, 12, let's give people a peek in a sense into the whole process and how hard it is sometimes for us to give you what you want or give you what you, because there's a lot of stuff on here that could be valuable, you know what I mean, some valuable efforts as far as put out a single or whatever. So that's why we gave people 31 songs. Like, listen, this is what we deal with every time. And even 31, we still have more than that. You know what I mean? So most albums, we dealing with 50, 60 songs. You got to cut them down to 12, you know what I mean? So we wanted people to see, like, this is how hard it is for us. You know what I mean? Like, because we do try to make great songs, we try not to make nothing that's not sonically pleasing, right? So when you do that, it's going to leave you with a certain caliber of work, but then how you pull out the gems if everything is sitting in a, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Certain place,
But you being as motivated as you are, Brian, were there ever any times in your career where you were like, hey, man, fuck this shit, I'm out? Or I don't give a damn about going forward with this. I just don't want to be in it.
Look. My new solo album coming out. like Fast and Heartbeats. Look, man. One thing about me is I'm a teammate. I'm a team player. You know what I'm saying? I love these 3 guys. You know what I'm saying? One of them is my brother, who, you know, I would literally kill for.
That's right.
But I kill for the other 2 too. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's never even an option, but trust me, but the feeling of, man, I'm so sick of this shit. Yes, anybody, you know, you're gonna go through that, but it would never, you'll never see that materialize from my standpoint. I'm a teammate, I'm a team member. I love these guys. I couldn't picture my next, if I left this thing tomorrow, I couldn't picture the next 5, 10 years without them. You know what I mean? So that's why Jagged is what it is. I think even when you look into Edition, we not like that. We have our small issues, but we never been the type who our issues so bad that we can't even sit in rooms together and shit. Like, that's not us. We might have an issue like back in the day when we was younger. We literally, and I don't, you know, but we'd fight. We invite each other out to the grass, have a fight, and go back in the room and have a drink and eat. It wasn't no big deal to us. You know what I mean? None of us is grudge holders. You know what I'm saying? And I think to do something this long, that's how you got to be. Like, anybody gonna have a lapse in judgment, let it go. Who is you? Who, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't have yours? You know what I'm saying? You ain't got your data shitty. You know what I'm saying? So for us, that's where you can never say, you know, Jagged Edge will break up. I just can't see it happening. We done been through so much already. If it ain't broke us up, it ain't gonna happen, you know, from this point on either.
When you look back in your memories museum, does it seem real, B? All of the success, all of the partying, all of the stages, all of the places. Does it seem real when you look back on it?
You know what's funny, man? It don't. In a sense of, it passes by. So, and it's funny because I remember being a kid and your parents always saying, don't rush to be no adult. You know what I'm saying? Don't rush to be paying these bills. Don't rush. You know what I'm saying? Because when you get there, it's going to, you know what I'm saying? It's
going to be there.
And that's what's kind of happened. Now, the memories give you a little peace about the whole thing flying by. But in essence, you look back, this shit done flew by. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. So, you know, the memories is what lets you know that it's real. But you almost do sometimes feel like it was a lifetime ago. You know what I'm saying? Even things we did an album or 2 ago, sometimes it feel like a lifetime ago. This was just the last album. You know, sometimes looking back, sometimes people screenshot me shit and send me DM. I'm like, damn it. It was like, but it seemed like a whole, like it's not even you, like it's an out of body experience, like you watching yourself, not like you really living it. You know what I'm saying?
What would grown ass Brian tell young ass Brian?
Man, same thing, Brent, chill out. You know what I mean? I mean, because, you know, like I said, one thing about all 4 members, we all got strong personalities. You know what I mean? And I think this is one of the one times in history where 4 alpha males coincided. Right? We don't have no need. I don't have no need to make you into a beta. You don't have no need to make. We all lions, and we live this thing together. And so, you know what I mean? So for me, it's like we handled some things wrong in the beginning, but we literally we didn't know no better. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing I heard my brother say. I totally agree with. Like, we really didn't know no better. We thought, dude, this is how you got to fight for your life.
Yeah.
This is how you got to fight for your right in this game. Because we knew, like, even when we heard, you know, when Jermaine gave us the stone face when he heard us.
Yeah.
We said, well, if we did blow it, this nigga done heard thousands of groups. Why us?
Yeah.
Everybody who didn't give us something, that's all we can say. Even Candy, she done probably heard hundreds of groups that year alone. Why us? You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it like that, man, you know, I feel like this. There's a blessing and a curse with this situation, but you do have to appreciate and respect both. Like, you got to appreciate the blessing, but you got to appreciate the times when it's humbled you too. You know what I'm saying? So with this, it's nothing I take back. It's nothing I would take back, and I would just tell younger Brian, man, try to use a little better judgment earlier on. You know what I'm saying? That's about it.
And lastly, the advice for just the new generation of artists coming up. And then also, what do you think happened to R&B to where the next generation didn't pick it up like they should have?
Man, you know what? I think part of the problem, too, because we talk about this all the time, is R&B had been such a dominant music in black culture for so long. It had to go another way. It's just like when jazz dominated. It had to give room to R&B, right? Bebop, whatever, you know, it had to give room to something else. It had to, you know, so same thing with this. But one thing I think also, you got so many rappers, you always got rappers talking about R&B this or R&B nigga that, right? Like it's a bad thing, right? But all you niggas singing.
All I'm saying.
All you niggas singing. And a lot of y'all beats sound like R&B music.
Come on.
And don't get me wrong, I like a lot of that shit, so I'm not even knocking it. I like it, but don't act like you ain't get it from where you got it from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I do think it leaves a space where if you're missing that thing sonically, they have kind of filled that space. You know what I mean? So, you know, all we can do as R&B artists is try to take it to another space. Of course, you got to keep R&B, but do something with it that they can't do.
Thanks.
And I think a real good R&B artist does that anyway. Yes, we can fall into the, you know, because we've had some where you damn near rapping. Yes, we can fall into that. But if I give you 3 or 4 of those on my album, I got to give you 5 or 6, 7 that you rap niggas can't do. I gotta do that, and that's what I think as R&B artists we gotta try to do and try to continue to do. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you. How can these folks contact you? And is there anything we need to know about Jagged Edge that's on the way?
Yeah, we got a 31 song project out right now. It's called Jagged Love Story. It's 4 videos out to that. How to Fix It, Decided, Closest Thing to Perfect, and Genie. We got a record out. That, well, you know, just all the things we've done the last year. So we got a record out with Lil Durk and No Cap. That's a dope record. Y'all check that out. We got a record out with Jacob Lattimore. Videos to both. Y'all check that out. And we got a new project on the way. We're getting ready to shoot this video with Vito.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? It's a crazy record. So we got a new project on the way. Probably another 15 songs. We ain't gonna give you another 30. Another 15 songs. And we get ready to shoot that video. So just look out for that. We got a podcast too called Views from the Edge.
Ooh.
We about to put that back out.
It's
we got a
time for
radio
that.
show as well called Jagged Storm Radio.
Ooh.
So I mean we branching out. Like I said, hopefully this movie is gonna come out the way we want to. But our goal, even with that movie thing, has been just like Steve Harvey took his book and made. We want to take our songs and the premise of these songs and make them into movies. You know what I'm saying?
Hard.
So
that's
hard. That's the goal right now.
I can't wait to see that stuff, B.
I'm telling you, bro, it's gonna be dope.
Brethren, thank you for coming through this thing, man. Wish you nothing but the best and much success.
Thanks for having me.
Be High Radio, shout it. Brian, Jagged Edge, we out of this thing. Go!